Hey, sixth grade. So moving forward with some new content, we're going to continue where we were with Unit 7. In Unit 7, we were working with variables and algebraic relationships. And today we're going to do your open response lesson, which is Lesson 7-7, and the title of that is the Water Saving Plan. Just to check in with your objective, students will be able to calculate monthly water usage and write a plan to cut water usage. And today you'll know you've got it when you can successfully use rates to help you calculate and make decisions for your water saving plan. So we're going to start with mental math and fluency like we do with every lesson. So this is going to be a little wacky because we're going to be giving you a prompt and then we're going to ask you to pause the video, solve the problem on your own mentally, and then come back to us and check in with an answer. So I'm going to get rid of my face now, but it was good to see you. So right now you should only just be seeing my computer screen. So today you're going to be mentally calculating differences, and we want you to do estimates here. So you're going to round these numbers to friendly numbers and then subtract. So the first one that we would like you to try is 6 and 9800ths, and we want you to subtract 6 and 44 thousandths. So go ahead and pause the video and turn it back on when you have an answer for that. Okay, welcome back. So we should have rounded 6 and 9800ths to 7, and we should have rounded 6 and 44 thousandths to 6. So when we subtract those two numbers, we should get 1 as our estimate of those differences. For the next one, we would like you to try 7 and 8600ths, and we want you to subtract 5 and 7 thousandths. Go ahead and pause the video. Welcome back. So for 7 and 8600ths, you should have rounded that to 8. And for 5 and 7 thousandths, you should have rounded that to 5. 8 minus 5 should give you 3 for that estimate. The next one that we would like you to try, 12 and 6/10ths, and we want you to subtract 12 and 106 thousandths. Pause the video. Hi there. So you should have rounded 12 and 600ths to 12 and a half. We know that in 6th grade we can work with halves, right? And you should have rounded 12 and 106 thousandths to 12. 12 and a half minus 12 should give you 0 and 5/10ths, or a half. Okay, so from here we're going to move into the math message for this lesson. So I'm going to jump to that screen for you to see. And then again, what we'll have you do is pause the video, try the math message on your own. Remember, this is your chance to attempt the problem on your own, see what you can do, activate your prior knowledge, and then you can move forward with going over the problem with me here on the screen. This is page 329 of your volume 2 of Everyday Math Journal. Make sure you have that in front of you before we move forward. Okay, so you'll see the title says Learning About Conserving Water. I'm going to read the prompt to you and then again give you some time to work through it. So it says Olivia's science teacher, Mrs. Palapoli, shared the following information. A leaky faucet drips 1 gallon of water in about 10,000 drips. The water flow of a standard shower head is about 2.5 gallons per minute. The water flow of a standard bathroom sink faucet is about 2 2/10 gallons per minute. The water flow of a typical garden hose is about 11 gallons per minute. Number 1, Mrs. Palapoli asked her students to calculate about how much water their families use. Olivia estimated her family's water use during the month of May as follows. Olivia's family typically took 4 showers per day. The showers had an average length of 8 minutes each. Olivia's family bathroom had a standard shower head. Their bathroom sink leaked at a rate of 1 drip per second. The family typically watered the vegetable garden for about 5 minutes each day. The family typically brushed their teeth at the bathroom sink 8 times per day and left the water running for about 2 minutes each time. Complete the table to show about how much water Olivia's family typically uses for the 4 listed categories per day and during a 30-day period. Include appropriate units for each table entry. So you'll see the table that they've provided for you. You'll see the source of water in column 1, daily water use in column 2, and the 30-day water use in column 3. So you're going to take the information that was provided for you up in the math message, and you're going to figure out the daily water use for her family. You simply just need to multiply that number by 30 to get the 30-day water use. Okay, now's a good time for you to pause the video, try this on your own, and you can unpause the video when you're ready to go over your responses. Hi, welcome back. So in front of you are the numbers that you should have gotten for Olivia's family's daily water use and also their 30-day water usage. Notice the use of units there. Make sure that you have those in your journal as well. So I'm going to walk you through how they came up with each of those numbers. Again, I'm not going to spend any time on discussing how they got from the daily water use to the 30-day water use, because you know all you need to do there is multiply that amount by 30, okay, taking the day use to the daily use. So I'll let you go ahead and do that on your own. But for the first one, for showering, so they said that there were 4 showers taken in her family per day, and each family member used about 8 minutes in the shower. Okay, so that came up to 32 minutes for the family. Then you're going to take that amount and you're going to multiply it by the number of gallons used per each shower with that standard shower head. And that was 2.5 gallons per minute. So when you do that calculation, you come up with, it doesn't want to make a point for me, you come up with 80 gallons per day. And then again, multiplying that by 30. For the brushing of the teeth, it says that her family brushed their teeth at the bathroom sink 8 times per day and left the water running for 2 minutes each. So we're going to take the 8 times a day and we're going to multiply it by the 2 minutes. All right, to get 16 minutes brushing their teeth as the family. And then we're going to multiply that by the 2 2/10 gallons that is used by that sink. Okay, and that's how you're going to come up with the 35 2/10 gallons per day just for brushing the teeth. Multiply that by 30 to come up with the 1,056 gallons for the 30-day. As far as the leaky faucet goes, this one you had to break down into how many seconds are in a day. So you're going to take 24 hours a day. You're going to multiply that by 60 seconds. Or I'm sorry, 60 minutes in each of those hours. And then you're going to multiply that by the number of seconds in each of those minutes, which again is 60. Okay. And that comes out to give you, I think it was 86,400. Sorry, I have the answer here. Yep, 86,400. And then you're going to have to take that number and divide it by 10,000, because up at the top of the page, they told you that 1 gallon is about 10,000 drips. So if her sink is dripping 86,400 times a day, if I divide that by the 10,000, I could figure out how many gallons that's using per day. And that was 8 6400 gallons, or 259 2/10 gallons in a 30-day usage. For the watering of the garden, okay, they tell us that the family waters the garden for about 5 minutes, and that uses 11 gallons per minute. Okay, so that's how we come up with the 55 gallons, the 5 times 11. And then multiplying that by 30, we can see that that comes out to be the 1,650 gallons in a 30-day water usage. To get your total, all you needed to do was add up all of those numbers to get 178 8400 gallons. And for the 30-day usage, you should have had 5,365 2/10 gallons. Please make sure that you understand everything that we just went over, because you know that that is your support, and that even goes back to the mental math and fluency. You're going to see some of that in your open response prompt that we're about to go over with you. So if you're unsure about anything that I just did, please pause the video and start it from the beginning. Okay, so looking at the prompt in front of you, I'm going to go over it, make sure you understand it. You want to have your journal in front of you. You'll notice that it says to use the information from the math message, because we're actually going to be using the numbers that we calculated for Olivia's family, and we're going to be applying that to our open response here. So number 1 says, Olivia's parents ask Olivia to help them cut their monthly water usage by at least 60%. So this number that you're going to calculate here is going to be your target for when you're figuring out how much water you're going to save her family. Okay, now remember from the previous page in your journal, Olivia's family uses 5,365, and 2/10 gallons per month. All right, so you're going to be finding 60% of that number. Remember, means multiplication. So you could think about what's 10% of that number just by moving your decimal point over one spot and then finding 6 groups of that 10%. Or you could use a calculator. If you have a percent button, go ahead and use it. If not, remember that 60 hundredths is the decimal form of 60%. All right, so moving on with that, Olivia's family told her that she could spend at most $50 on water-saving devices. You're going to design a plan for Olivia so that family could save at least 60% on their water usage and spend no more than $50. Use the facts below to develop your plan. Note, the family will not change how often they shower, water the garden, or brush their teeth. They may change the amount of time for each though. So her family is still going to be taking 4 showers a day. They're still going to be brushing their teeth 8 times. Okay, but the amount of minutes that they use for each of those activities could be maybe cut back. So instead of showering for 8 minutes, maybe they're only allowed to shower for 5 and stock up on deodorant. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're working through those options for her to save the family some water. So these are the water saving plan costs. So the water flow for a high efficiency shower head is 1.5 gallons per minute, and this shower head costs $25. The cost of the part needed to repair a leaky faucet is $5. Olivia's family can double the length of the hose by combining 2 hoses they have. Then the hose will have a water flow of 5.5 gallons per minute. Rain barrels collect rainwater that can be used to water the garden. Olivia's family can build a rain barrel that holds 65 gallons for about $28. Assume they can fill the rain barrel 3 times per month. On the back of this page, number 3 says, consider how Olivia could convince her family that her plan meets their requirements. Describe Olivia's plan using clear mathematical language. Label any rates and measurements with appropriate units. So we're looking for this to be as clear as possible. We want to be able to follow your plan so that we can also be convinced that your plan meets the $50 requirement and also saves her family 60% of that water usage. You guys will also notice attached in Google Classroom is we've given you this graphic organizer. Here we would recommend that you lay out every action that she has available to her. Okay, so that's 2 hoses, the rain barrel, fixing the faucet, replacing the shower head. You can also then keep track of what that would cost her family, how many gallons that's going to save them per day, and then how many gallons it's going to save them for 30 days. Remember, your answer to number 1 is your target for the water saving plan, staying under the $50, but also saving enough water to reach that 60% savings. So we thought that this graphic organizer was very helpful and might help you organize your thoughts before you go ahead and put it on to the open response. If you guys have any questions, please make sure that you reach out. I'm sure that myself and Mr. Zerga has some times arranged for that. And then following this, we'll have a video on Wednesday where we can share what your response should have been here, but we really, really, really want you to try this on your own. That's the best way to learn from this activity. So we hope you're doing well. We miss you all so much. And again, reach out if you have any questions. See ya!